Hey, so I wanted to talk about some of the things I think that Dead Space gets right in terms of making a good atmosphere for a horror. And one, I kind of like the fact that you're only in that mining area because that limited space kind of helps make this more claustrophobic like feel, which I think actually can really work really well for horror games versus having more of a big open world. And I kind of like the fact that too in general, that whole feeling of being out in space helps to create kind of that lonely, more isolated atmosphere. And I think it helps you get kind of more in Isaac's head because everything that Isaac's going through clearly would be traumatic. I mean, even if you know before the games, his whole what happened with his mother and her also using all I think she uses all of his inheritance in order to give to the church, and how a lot of what happens to his mother too ties into what happens in the game. And I think he started the game even before this, really feeling like a sense of worthlessness, and I sometimes feel like that's why he pushed her so hard to go and take that job, Nicole. And I think that it just helps you really get into his head. And then obviously too, his mental state deteriorating is further shown by also the markers, seeing like and hearing the different hallucinations. And I think it really just helps to make it feel extra creepy because it's not just a game too that relies solely on just jump scares. There is a lot of psychological elements to it that make it creepy. And that's why I think it did a really good job with having a good horror atmosphere. It's not necessarily the best, nor is it's not necessarily saying it's the worst. It's just, well, obviously I'm not saying it's the worst, but it definitely does a good job at conveying what it wants to when it comes to just overall creepiness.